straight up.
Hello, and thank you so much for coming back. Today's video is just gonna be me talking about a writing prompt, or specifically writing a character in any kind of prompt. Really quick, thank you to the patrons, the viewers, and the subscribers. I love all of you very much. Also, big shout out to the editor, who's actually on vacation, so I am taking care of doing my own videos for a little while. I hope he and his wife have lots of fun. Now, the reason why I want to talk about writing characters is because if you saw the opening of the video, it's actually writing about death. Death as a character in stories isn't new. However, I'm specifically going to be talking about the big bad wolf in the Puss in Boots movie that's recently come out. The reason why I want to talk about this is because death itself serves a function more so than it serves like an altruistic, like evil purpose. Now you're probably thinking, hold up, wait a minute, that doesn't sound right. But it is. Death is a function of the world, meaning no matter what, if you live, you die. At the end of everything, death comes for everybody. The idea for the Puss in Boots movie, which I found infinitely interesting, is the fact that cats have 9 lives. Now, this is an old adage from forever ago, and in all honesty, death in the movie, which is the big bad wolf, legitimately is aggravated by cats having 9 lives, is because, yes, you have the ability, quote, the ability to have more than 1 life, but if you abuse them, it kind of makes it to where, do you even care about your life at all? Now, some people, right, might say, oh, well, death is evil and everything else in this movie. Death can't be evil, because death serves a purpose, death serves a function. Death is just doing its day job. It literally can't be evil. Out of all the characters in the Puss in Boots movie, the only actual evil one is Jack Horner. The big bad wolf isn't doing this because it's some bounty that he's gotta get. It's literally, Puss in Boots throughout the entire movie has even said it. I've lived all of my lives to the fullest, and I died in any way I saw fit knowing I'd have more. The wolf, or in this case death, gets aggravated by it, and I can appreciate the idea of death being aggravated by having to constantly get notifications that this one person keeps popping up and I can't do anything about it because, technically speaking, they have spares. And I really do enjoy this, is because Puss in Boots in the movie doesn't realize that his actions will have consequences. He is just playing this completely straight up of, I've got more, it's fine. The whole premise of the movie is, if I can get this wishing star, I can wish for all 8 of my other lives back and it has to give it to me. That's the reason why death is so aggravated, is because what good does it do you? You getting more lives? No, you don't even value the one you're currently living. So why would the wish even matter to you? It doesn't. Granted, the other people in this movie also don't have, like, good reasons, but whatever. Okay, so I should probably make this a little bit more understandable. What I mean is, when they say they don't have good reasons, Jack Horner, being the actual villain, doesn't really have a good reason for wanting to be the master of magic. They even make fun of it in the movie that, well, let me rephrase that. He makes fun of himself in the movie of, I had everything I could ever want, I just want more. They even call him the cricket even calls him an irredeemable monster, which is great. But the reason why I say Goldie doesn't really have a reason is because her character arc in this is, well, I want a family, not realizing you have a family. With the 3 bears, they're your family. That's it. She doesn't realize you already have what you wanted. Puss in Boots' wish is wholly selfish. The reason why I say his wish is selfish is because he just wants all of his lives back so he can have them, so he can keep being like how he's been. It's the reason why when death shows up in the final scene, he literally ignores everybody else because they're not on his list. He's not there to pick them up. He has a personal gripe with Puss in Boots specifically, which is an interesting characterization of death. It's something I can appreciate. And it is the reason why in the movie, when Puss has his, well, in all honesty, when he has his come to Jesus moment of, I need to value the life I'm living, it works. It's powerful. He literally looks at death and, you know what? I have a meme for this. Let me put it up for you.
What if I didn't run? What if I'm not a coward? What if I want them to kill me? What if I want them to try?
So the reason why I say that Puss in Boots has his come to Jesus moment and all of that is because he realizes, just like the dog Perito tells him, you only really get one life and you should enjoy the life you get. That's the whole character arc of Puss in this movie, and it's the reason why death in this movie, when he finally has to realize, right, and I'm talking about Puss, that I have one life, I have to enjoy it. It's the reason why death backs off and complains that, well, okay, I didn't get what I wanted, is because death in this movie, insofar as this narrative for this movie is concerned, I came here because you didn't value your life. You've learned the lesson of, nope, life definitely has value, so now I have to contend with that, and we have to work around it, which is fine. It's a good story motif. The reason why I'm bringing up the fact that death as a character in a story is always going to be the most interesting character is because you can characterize death as anything or anybody. There is no limitation, is because death as a concept affects everybody equally, and that's important to remember. So death having a personal vendetta against one person in your narrative isn't necessarily bad. Actually, sometimes it can lend itself to really good stories, is because, like the Puss in Boots one, death wasn't particularly interested in anybody else, is because you, Puss in Boots, have a history of not valuing your lives. That's the whole reason why death is like, let's just skip to the ending of you not really caring and I just get to pick you up. That's it. That's the entire character arc. It's why in the movie, Puss is going through so much anxiety and panic attacks, is because realizing death is always there. Death really doesn't have to wait. Death could be next to you all the time and you don't know it until it really needs to hammer in the home the fact of, I'm here to pick you up, whether you particularly like it or not. That's it. That's the gag, right? I'm here for you. Now, in greater overarching stories and all that other jazz, death has often been characterized as all kinds of things. And it works. You can make death a suave, cool businessman. You can make death the beggar on the street. You can make death that person that you constantly see, but you've never actually talked to. Death as a character in stories can be powerful or mysterious or a combination thereof. It's really important to remember that, yes, you specifically might be scared of dying. You can write your characters of dying doesn't scare them, but death does. And what I mean by that is this. You can write a cool character, right? Nothing scares them. Not even the thought of dying scares them. But when they are finally confronted with death, finally being face to face with it, that's where actual fear needs to come in, is because, just like in the Puss in Boots movie, while he's fighting death, he realizes, there's no way I can beat you. There isn't. But I'm not going to stop fighting for the life I am currently living. And that is a powerful moment. And it is incredibly important to realize that, yes, no one ever beats death. Nobody's ever cheated death. Nobody's ever escaped death. If you've ever had that, I'm sorry to say, death wasn't looking for you. He wasn't. And I say that as somebody whose parents were morticians, right? My parents dealt with death every day. And by that, I do literally mean the dead were processed for their work. So even they, right, being around it all the time, they were still mad respectful toward it because We're just the cleanup crew for it. It's the only piece of advice I think it was ever given by my parents that still to this day really holds true. King or pauper, God or man, death comes for everybody. Death is the last man standing. He cleans up everybody else's mess because at the end of the day, that's his job. And it's really important and powerful to remember that. And that's why I wanted to talk about specifically death in writing. You can write death. You can do all kinds of interesting stuff with death in your writing. You just actually really have to commit to the bit of it's important, and you need to be okay with the fact that maybe your character doesn't get to pass on that. Even characters written as immortals still have to contend with the fact that death has their number. Death always knows who's coming to dinner. There's never gonna be oh no, who's it gonna be for death? Death has the guest list every day of the week. It's just a matter of when your reservation is coming up. That's powerful. And I think that if people remember that more so than they remember anything else when they write death, it works really effectively. It works really powerfully. It works extraordinarily well. It's the reason why in the new Puss in Boots movie, because it's the most recent adaptation of death, he really is scary, is because he's there. He doesn't need to be in your face every scene. He can't be, because when he does show up, it's literally like, where did you come from? How did you even find me? And that's why it's important, is because he just shows up. There's not even like oh no, there he is, he's coming. The whistle that you hear for him in the movie is to let you, the audience, know, hey, I'm here. And it's also to induce the anxiety in Puss in Boots. That's why it's powerful and effective. Death does not have to have a audio cue to let you know they're coming. Death will just, hi, how you doing? And it works. It works in narrative, it works in storytelling. And I think that we sometimes forget that is because talking about death and dying tends to scare people. Which, it's effective, but you gotta do it right when you're writing it. And I don't mean do it like George R.R. Martin where it's just a random wheel of chance, and don't do it like I have everybody predestined and planned out like in other narratives. You have to have a fine balancing act of, if death is coming, you, the author, should know that first, and you're gonna have to plan, if you decide to put death as a character in your story, is death just suddenly there all the time, or is there a way to know? That's something you do have to think about. Anyway, that's all I wanted to talk about for today. I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day, night, weekend, weekday, lunch break, whatever, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. And I hope you have been enjoying the random playthroughs I've been doing. If you want to see more of my honestly terrible video game skills, I do have a Twitch under the same name. I hope to see all of you guys later. Bye!